It began not with a roar, but with silence, a silence that echoed across the endless black of space and down on Earth, where millions of hearts held their breath. The date was July 20th, 1969, the day humanity left its cradle and touched another world. For millions of years, human beings had looked up at the moon, a pale, distant light that haunted myths, guided travelers, and symbolized dreams. It had always entire species. Through the blackness of space, they drifted for 240,000 miles, a fragile capsule of life surrounded by the infinite void. Every radio signal, every heartbeat traveled across that emptiness between worlds. And then, on July 20th at 8:17 p.m. UTC, a voice broke through the static. "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Those words fell like thunder through every living room on Earth. In that instant, we were no longer a planet-bound species. Humanity had taken its first step beyond home, and when Neil Armstrong descended the ladder, his boot pressing softly into the lunar dust, time itself seemed to pause. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. 8 simple words, but behind them were centuries of curiosity, courage, and sacrifice. For the first time in history, human footprints were pressed into the dust of another world. Dust untouched for billions of years. Beneath a sky where Earth hung small and blue, rising above the horizon, from that surface, the astronauts could see what no one had ever seen before, our world as a fragile sphere of light, floating in the darkness. No borders, no nations, no wars, just one home, one humanity. It was a sight that changed how we understood ourselves. Because for all of human history, we had thought the world was vast, that our oceans, mountains, and continents were endless. But from the moon, it all looked so small, so delicate. In that moment, we realized how connected we truly are, and how easily it all could be lost. Apollo 11 wasn't just a triumph of technology. It was a triumph of spirit, proof that human beings could rise above their limits, that courage and imagination could overcome fear and gravity itself. Behind the success were 400,000 people, engineers, scientists, dreamers, who turned an impossible idea into a reality. They built machines that defied nature, guided by equations written on chalkboards and dreams whispered across generations. And yet, it wasn't just about machines. It was about meaning, because when humanity looked up that night and saw a man walking on the moon, something shifted deep inside us. The impossible had become possible. We had proven that we could leave Earth, that our destiny was not to remain confined to one world, but to journey beyond it. The Apollo landing was more than a mission. It was a message, a statement to the universe that we are no longer bound by the planet that gave us life, that the human story had entered a new chapter, as Armstrong and Aldrin planted the American flag. It wasn't just for one nation. It was for all humankind. The flag stood not as a symbol of conquest, but of courage, of the shared belief that together we can reach beyond the stars. And when they left the moon, they left behind a small plaque that read, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD, we came in peace for all. Mankind, for all mankind." That phrase would echo for generations, a reminder that what we achieve together can outlast our fears, our borders, and our time. Back on Earth, as people watched the broadcast, families huddled around flickering televisions, tears in their eyes. There was a collective realization. We had done something extraordinary, something timeless. The same species that once painted stars on cave ceilings is now walking. July 20th, 1969. It wasn't just another day in history. It was the day humanity looked up and refused to look down again. It was proof that our greatest boundaries are not the ones written in physics, but the ones we draw in our minds. Since that day, no human has looked at the night sky the same way. Every moonlit evening carries the memory of that first step, the heartbeat of a moment when Earth itself reached for the heavens. We left Earth not to escape it, but to understand it, to remind ourselves that every mountain, every ocean, every life is part of one small, fragile world, and as the astronauts drifted home, carrying dust from the moon and the dreams of billions, humanity returned changed. The frontier was no longer out there. It was within us. July 20th, 1969, the most important date in human history. The day we proved that no dream is too distant, no sky too high, and no step too small to change the fate of a world, because on that day we didn't just walk on the moon, we walked into the future.